Get on the road to Cheltenham with Betfair and build your free bet pot for the festival. Bet £20 across UK and Irish racing. Get a £10 free bet on the Cheltenham Festival. Runs every Saturday. Build your free bet pot with Betfair.
Welcome back to the weekend warm-up as part of Betfair's race to Cheltenham. Over the course of the last 4 or 5 weeks or so, Betfair have been making a particularly enticing offer, and it's not over yet. You can still get involved. To give us more details, let's say a very good afternoon to Barry.
Yeah, hi Emma. It's the last week, the fifth and final week of our race to Cheltenham. It's not too late to get involved, like you say. Bet £20 on the Betfair exchange this weekend on any UK or Irish horse race, and you will get a free £10 bet for the Cheltenham Festival. So that's been running since the 13th of February, concludes this Saturday, the 13th of March. If someone's been bet that 20 quid every weekend for those 5 weekends, they'll have 50 quid in their charity or in their bonus bank pot come the Tuesday of the festival.
And alongside Barry and myself is Chris Dixon, a regular on our screens and indeed on this programme. And Chris, there's always a good card at Sandown, isn't there, leading into Cheltenham Week?
Yeah, there is. There's always some good quality stuff at Sandown, and there's often a little bit of spice added in recent times by the Imperial Cup and the fact that there's regularly been that bonus up for grabs for the winner of the Imperial Cup to go on and win the race again. Martin Pipe used to always have a go at it, didn't he? And David Pipe had a good go a couple of times as well. Did Gaspara do it, I think, a good few years back? I'm not sure if it's been done again since off the top of my head, but it always just adds a little bit of intrigue going into Cheltenham Week as well from this Sandown card, which is a good card in its own right.
Ari, it's an intriguing renewal, and this time around we've got a fairly short price favourite in the shape of Natural History.
Yeah, very strong at the head of the market. He's a 3-to-1 chance Natural History. Langer Dan is 6-to-1, 8-to-1 Highway, 102. A host of horses on 10-to-1. Leon Cavella, Malaya, Miranda. 14-to-1, One True King. Diego de Michel, 16, and a host of 20-to-1 chances. Very competitive. 5 places to each way punters on the Betfair Sportsbook there.
Chris, before we get stuck into this, there's a couple of interesting stats that I'm going to throw at you. 13 of the last 19 winners have been novices, and 12 of the last 15 have been no older than 6. So it takes a certain horse, doesn't it, that generally wins this?
Yeah, I think when we get to these big competitive handicaps, that kind of stat tends to come up quite a bit, doesn't it? And essentially, it's unexposed, well-handicapped horses that win these races. You get the odd time where there's a bit of a weight dropper that can come and do the business. But you're right, it tends to go the way of a less exposed horse who is on the up. And we've got a couple of them towards the fore of the market.
Well, we'll start with Natural History because he was beaten on his first couple of starts. He was a decent horse that ended up finishing second in the Group 3 when he was with Andrew Balding. He went in off a fairly nice mark, 116, and fairly bolted up. He's now £16 higher. How did you assess that?
I don't think the form was worth a great deal, but I think I've said on here before, you can't just judge them on one run, really. It's got to be the full body of their form. And at this stage of his hurdles career, you've still got to look back to some degree to his flat form. And he was a group place flat performer in the St. Simon Stakes, as you mentioned there. So he's going the right way over hurdles. It was an easy win for him last time out. This is going to be much, much tougher, off a much higher handicap mark. And he could just do with settling and relaxing into his race a little bit better. He's one of those, I can see him going and winning. I can see him going and winning well. But do I want to be with him at the price? Not particularly. I think I'd rather look elsewhere. And I thought that Langer Dan at slightly bigger odds looked fairly interesting. I know he's still right there in the market, but he was a big eye catcher last time.
He certainly was. Barry, your eagle eyes spotted the same thing, didn't they?
Yeah, really did. That was his first run back after a wind operation in Market Raise, and he did catch the eye behind the Giro, only beaten 6.5 lengths. Never really asked to get competitive in the race. Probably needed to run. He was off the back of a 111-day break. So, yeah, he's a horse that I think has plenty of potential. His run behind Aramax, he wasn't beaten that far in the Boodles last year. He's only a little over 4 lengths behind him. That's a race that's worked out reasonably well. 2 poor enough runs in Chepstow and Plumpton this year before the wind surgery and that break, and I'm sure he'll come on a stone for that. So, yeah, he was one that I had earmarked off the back of that run in Market Racing as well.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier that the Pipe team have won this race 9 times over the years, and Leon Cavallo is a horse that definitely comes into it. He ended up last season on the flat, finishing 6th in the Cesarewitch. Chris, would you give him a chance here?
Yeah, I think you've got to give him a chance. He's got plenty of solid form in the book, hasn't he? He was going well on the flat last season. These colours of the Value Racing Club as well have won the race before with Ebony Express a few years ago. So I'm sure they've targeted this a good way out, and he will be cherry ripe for the day. My suspicion is that it'll be something better handicapped than him, though.
Okay, and that better handicapped horse is what?
I think it's Langer Dan, as Barry said. He's kind of highlighted the case for him. He's £5 lower than when he was 6th in that Boodles Fred Winter last year, and there was definite signs of return behind 3 in-form last time out winners at Market Raising last time out. And Dan Skelton, very, very good target trainer. I think he'll be absolutely spot on. So he's my fancy. Barry said there, Betfair Sportsbook offering 5 places each way. To take advantage of that particular offer, I'd be looking at a horse called Hang In There for the informed team of Emma Lavelle. He's dropped to a good mark. He's had a short break. He's quite a keen going horse, and I think that a big field handicap on decent ground might be his bag. There was just a glimpse of that being the kind of situation that he wants at Newbury on his penultimate start. I don't think he stayed a longer trip that day. This distance, this ground, this sort of setup could suit him, and he's going to be a big price.
Okay, well, my pick to take advantage of that each way offer would be One True King for the Twiston Davis team. I think he's got good form at 2 miles. He was disappointing in the Lanzarote. He made a bad mistake at Ascot 2 out last time, but I think dropping back in trip could possibly help his chances. And Barry, have you got a bigger priced one?
Not really. My main focus was on Langer Dan. One at a bit of a price. She's disappointed somewhat at recent runs, but she's a course and distance winner, Malaya, for Paul Nicholls. Be interesting to see what he has to say about her in his blog, which you can read exclusively on Betfair from Friday evening. So she's one that maybe at a bigger price could run well.
Okay, and Chris, looking outside of the Imperial Cup, plenty of racing on Saturday. What is the nap of the day?
I'm going to go on the same card as the Imperial Cup for the nap. Final race on Sandown's card on Saturday afternoon. A horse called 5 Star Getaway for Christian Williams and Nick Schofield. Unexposed 7-year-old, this horse. He's bred to be better than his lowly mark. He's got 2 winning siblings that rated in the mid-140s. He didn't show much during last season, but a little bit better at Warwick on his return to action. Then he was out of his depth on his chase debut, but very strong in the market for his first go in a handicap over fences last time out, and he won very, very easily. That wasn't a great race, but the time compared favourably with some higher class races on the card later that afternoon, and I think that 5 Star Getaway can defy a rise in the handicap and going once again for Christian Williams.
Good stuff. And I know you've got a bigger price one up your sleeve too.
Yeah, my each way fancy for the weekend is in the Lincoln Trial at Wolverhampton. Flat season just around the corner, never mind the Cheltenham Festival as well. The 240 it is at Wolverhampton on Saturday. A horse called Zwayan. He's won this race before. He won it 2 years ago off a £4 higher handicap mark. He hasn't won since, but he's got lots of good form in the book. He's got a good claimer on his back. He's got a nice draw in stall for. He goes well fresh, which he is, and he rarely runs a bad race on the all-weather. So I thought he might run well at a lengthy enough price in the Lincoln Trial, 240 on Saturday. Very
good. Barry, what have you got up your sleeve for us?
Well, my nap selection of the weekend is Stratagem in the 335 in Sandown. It's a novice handicap chase. He's top weight, 145. He's rated, made all last day in Doncaster off 140. Got £5 for that. He's only a 5-year-old. I think he's got a really bright future, this horse. Really interested to see how he gets on. He's currently a 6-to-1 chance, so that's a nice working man's price. My each way bet of the weekend is in a very, very difficult race, but I think that's reflected in his price. Striking a pose for Colin Tizard. He's rated 130. He's currently a 10-to-1 chance. Made all in Exeter last month. He was 2-to-7 that day. He did what you'd expect for a 7-to-2 chance. Didn't get put up any more for that. He won 11 lengths. He's a horse definitely going in the right direction. He's had 4 runs over hurdles. He's finished 3rd twice, and he's won the other 2 races. So he was even running well when the Colin Tizard stable were under a bit of a cloud. So that's always a good sign. So striking a pose each way for me in the 150 in Sandown on Saturday.
Okay, well, I'm sticking to Sandown as well, but it's in the Mayor's Bumper at 3 o'clock. And I like the chances of Miss Lamb, who won her first couple of starts, and then she came up against none other than Eileen Dover at Market Raising last time. The 3rd has since won a Grade 2. The 4th has won a listed race, and I think the form looks to be fairly solid there. And my each way bet of the weekend is a horse I've already briefly touched on in the Imperial Cup, and that was One True King, who I think will be suited by the drop back to 2 miles. So that concludes our analysis of the Imperial Cup and also the best of the weekend's action. Barry and Chris, thank you very much, and roll on Cheltenham.
Get on the road to Cheltenham with Betfair and build your free bet pot for the festival. Bet £20 across UK and Irish racing. Get a £10 free bet on the Cheltenham Festival. Runs every Saturday. Build your free bet pot with Betfair.